Brown says the 2015 England managerial tandem will be more than capable of succeeding Joe Schmidt. The current Ireland head coach is slated to make a decision on his future before the end of this month. Brown describes Lancaster and Farrell as, quote, hugely impressive individuals. Ireland, of course, going to be without both Robbie Henshaw and Conor Murray for the remainder of the
Are Leinster fans just sitting here going, Joey Carberry, now you're openly taking Stuart Lancaster. Can we have a break here, please?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they've got Leo Cullen. He's the real man in charge. So,
well, I mean, they work very well together. Like, Cullen's a brilliant delegator, clearly, and has done an amazing job, in fairness. But, like, Lancaster on the pitch has had a huge impact.
Well, they've got 27 million quid to play with now to get somebody else involved. So, I'm sure at the RFE are going to be fine.
I don't think it's all going on Leinster's new coach.
I'm sure other people in the country would presume that it is all going to go on Leinster's coach. However, Ireland going to be without a Leinster man in Robbie Henshaw and indeed Conor Murray for the remainder of the autumn series. Henshaw's going to miss the test with the All Blacks in the USA after picking up a hamstring injury during Saturday's win over Argentina, while the RFU say Murray's rehabilitation from his neck injury is going well, but clearly not well enough to see game time this month. Declan Devine has signed a 2-year deal to return as Derry City manager. The 46-year-old replaces Kenny Shields at the Brandywell. Devine led the Candy Stripes to the FAI Cup in 2012 and sealed European qualification with his second season in charge before leading ahead of the 2014 campaign. He'll be assisted by Kevin Deary and Marty McCann, while another club legend in Paddy McCourt is confirmed as part of Devine's backroom team. He is, of course, Academy Director. While Liverpool striker Daniel Sturridge has been charged with misconduct by the FA. The charges relate to alleged breaches of betting rules. It's been reported that Sturridge used third parties to place bets on transfers and managerial switches. Liverpool say Sturridge has stated categorically that he's never gambled on football. Well, finally, Gavin Moynihan remains on course to retain his European Tour card. The Dubliner reached the halfway point of the Q School in Tarragona with a share of 19th position on 10 under par. It's the top 25 plus ties at the end of Wednesday's play that will secure cards for next season. However, both Robin Dawson even and Cormac Sharvin have work to do to make the 72-hole cut tomorrow. They're among those tied for 77th, with the top 70 progressing to the final couple of rounds.
Cheers, Rich. Thanks very much. Now, all this week and Off the Ball, we're teaming up with Volkswagen, proud sponsor of Irish Rugby. They want to reward Ireland's dedicated rugby fans by giving them the hottest tickets in town to the New Zealand game next Saturday. So tonight, you get the chance to win an Ireland Limited Edition Series jersey, and then you go into our end of week draw to win those tickets for the New Zealand game, plus accommodation in Dublin City Centre. Brilliant prize. To win, just identify our mystery voice who was asked how he intends to cook his sausages at the weekend.
I think we'll better them.
Text your name and answer 53106 for 30 cents. We'll announce the winner before the end of the show. And remember as well to drop into the Volkswagen Fan Tiguan on Lansdowne Road ahead of the Autumn International Games this month for your chance to meet a rugby legend, test your rugby knowledge and skills and win some great prizes. For more information, follow Volkswagen on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. It's all thanks to Volkswagen, a proud sponsor of Irish Rugby.
I think we'll better them.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
In association with the faster than ever Boylesports app, with hundreds of pre-live and in-play football markets. Download it now. Boylesports. Time to play.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
So, Dan, Manchester United fans, they came away from Turin thinking, do you know what, maybe we're onto something here. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but there was a bit of character there. Maybe we're going to be okay. And then Manchester City cruelly slapped it down for the lump it up to Fellaini nonsense that it was.
Anyone who came away with huge optimism from Turin, they need to realise that their loyalties are blinding their sense of logic.
Isn't delusion the whole nature of...
Oh, that's the nature of sport. That's the beauty of sport, is that everyone's irrational.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone believes, as a game gets closer, everyone believes. Generally people, I think the sport fan, I'm not sure about players, but sporting fans, they tend to get more optimistic as the game draws closer. It's a bit like, think of Ireland going to major tournaments, dreadful group, but then as it gets closer, it's like, well, actually, if we do this,
if
we do that, there's always a chance. You're never beaten before it starts.
No, it's true. So we'll hear from Seamus Coleman later on in the football show. He was speaking with Nathan Murphy at Stamford Bridge yesterday. 0-0 draw there. Nathan did the commentary and chatted with Seamus Coleman. And we'll also talk to Kevin Kilbane, who has spent much of his Monday afternoon sitting on the couch rewatching the Manchester Derby. That was what he wanted to do. Before we get to all that, I've entitled this section, We've sat through Martin O'Neill's press conference, so you don't have to.
Right.
Okay.
Is there a jingle to go with that, or is that just this? You just need to work on the jingle.
Work on a jingle. So a few different bits and bobs. I don't think there's anything too major going on. I suppose Michael Obafemi is the interesting news story out of the press conference, if there is one. So Obafemi, born in Dublin to Nigerian parents, made his debut for Southampton last year.
Yeah, I think this one is actually interesting because it's an unusual case. Yeah.
And he has pace. You know, I mean, we could do with as many strikers as possible for one, and strikers with pace are doubly good. And look, we don't have many 18-year-olds who've made a debut in the Premier League. So
ticks all those boxes.
Yeah, Obafemi was named in the provisional squad a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, oh, interesting, because there was talk of Nigeria certainly showing interest in him. And then I presumed, look, he's in the provisional squad, so we've got him. That may now not be the case at Emerge today, or where are we?
Well,
I'll play O'Neill in a second.
Yeah, well, actually, the context of this is more so last week. Like, he was called into the squad, and actually last Tuesday, I think, when the squad announcement was, naturally a couple of us would have asked Martin O'Neill about both Obafemi and this guy Jimmy Dunn, who's a guy from Dundalk who was named in the provisional squad last week, but Northern Ireland have been courting him.
Okay.
And the context of mentioning Dunn is that we asked O'Neill last week, well, are you calling up these lads because of the interest from other countries? And O'Neill basically said, well, yeah, I guess. But I've spoken to Tom Mohan, who's the Ireland under-19 manager, and actually we're not worried about Obafemi. But he admitted the Dunn one. Dunn had spoken with Michael O'Neill, so he'd spoken with the international manager relevant to his other option. But where we got a bit of doubt with Obafemi was Mark Hughes on Friday, suggesting that Obafemi's situation may not be clear-cut. As you mentioned, Dublin born, moved to England as a kid, so in theory could play for Ireland, could play for Nigeria because he's Nigerian parents, and he could play for England. And all three have been sort of, you know, around him at various points, but he's been playing with Ireland underage through the age groups.
Okay. Here is Martin O'Neill then asked about Obafemi and if there is still that chance that he could still switch allegiances despite being with the Irish camp this week.
He's in the squad at this minute. He has obviously his decisions to make for his future. You would expect that anyway. And I think that's something that he would obviously discuss with his family. And so there'll be no real pressure on him to make that decision in the next couple of days.
So does that mean you won't feel comfortable putting him into the team against Denmark unless he's obviously made that decision?
Absolutely, totally. That will be the player and the family's decision to do that. And that's the last thing that you'd want to do, is be rushing someone into a situation like that there if they are uncomfortable with it. I don't know if that's the case because I will speak to him this afternoon. But yeah, if he has decisions to make, then I would respect that.
So there is a chance that he may still play against Denmark on Monday?
I don't think anything, I don't think I could rule that out, certainly. But I would certainly have to have a discussion with him and I think members of his family as well too.
So we'll see how that unfolds. We're getting to a point pretty soon with O'Neill press conferences where we're just going to have to say, right, let's get all the eligibility questions out of the way.
let's get through that, you know.
And then we'll get on to the other stuff.
Who's here? Who's here? They should be like a fix with labels, you know, like sort of like an old traffic light ball or something, you know. It's like who's go for green here, or who are we not sure, who's on yellow. Like it is.
Spoken to Declan Rice's dad today, or where are we now?
Where's how the family getting on?
Yeah,
it is. It's amazing how much time we're spending talking about this, but it's the rules of the game.
Sure is. If there's one thing we do have, Dan, it's right backs. If there's one thing,
good right back. We've always had right backs.
No, listen, we like a good full back in this country. So at the moment, there's obviously Coleman and Matt Doherty of late, and Cyrus Christie as well. O'Neill asked if maybe he could try and find a formation or some way to shoehorn his 3 Premier League right backs into the team.
Well, Seamus is the captain, but that wouldn't be the reason he's playing. Seamus is playing because he's absolutely top-class player. And he's now recovered, I think, fully from the, not only from the serious injury against Wales, but obviously the stress fracture that he received, or certainly a couple of weeks ago, that prevented him from playing. So, really fine player, depending on what sort of system we play. It is possible to get all 3 into the side, you know, but that's something I'll obviously consider over the next few days. But Seamus Coleman, let's be fair about it, would be first choice.
I think we all agree on that. But I mean, you could have Coleman. It depends on formation, of course. Like there's even potential for Coleman as one of 3 centre backs if you really wanted to. But you could have Coleman somewhere right back, you could have Matt Doherty on the wing, and increasingly you could have Cyrus Christie in central midfield.
I mean, you can't have Cyrus in central midfield. It's been done.
He can do what he wants to.
But we've got Robbie Brady back now, and other players available. But
Yeah.
Clement Whelan's farewell on Thursday, of course, as well.
Yeah, we should talk about that later on.
I don't think you need to get Cyrus onto the pitch in central midfield. It's just personal preference. But I mean, one of them at left back would be another option as well.
One last one that was touched on today, and then we'll talk to Kev about the derby. It's 25 years since the World Cup game, the qualification game in Windsor Park. Lots of pieces doing the rounds over the last few days. Alan McLaughlin's goal and all that. So, I mean, tensions were certainly heightened back then, to say the least. O'Neill was asked with this current friendly against the North if he has to warn his players about their behaviour in any way, given the nature of the game this week.
Hopefully not. No, we actually played. We played Michael's side a couple of years ago behind closed doors, just a little game and the build up to the Euros, I think it was, and that went off pretty well. But as I said, it was behind closed doors and be a totally different atmosphere. But I think the players will be on their best behaviour.
Yeah, I've no doubt they will. I mean, you would think a match up in Belfast is the next step.
That's the major step. That was when I was up at Belfast for the under-21 joint bid between the countries. That was one of the questions that the locals there were asking. That is the next step. Could the Republic come to Belfast for a friendly? Because you actually look at the history of the games between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, and the only friendlies that have been played, inverted commas friendlies, have been a game for the OMA Fund in 1999, which very small attendance at that, if I recall, but it was a charity case. And then we had the Carling Nations Cup 2011, which was part of a tournament, so it wasn't quite a standalone event. So this is actually first time they've really played in just a friendly match arranged for no other reason than just let's play a game against each other. So the next step is going to Belfast.
We had Louise Quinn doing the paper review yesterday. If you didn't catch it, then a short version was
interesting. Yeah,
the Republic played up in Newry. We found out afterwards she wasn't actually quite sure at the time.
I wasn't aware of this at all, I have to say.
No, I actually think this may have been a bigger story if it
happened at the time.
Yeah, so this is only a year ago. So they were playing against the North. It was not a friendly, as I understand it.
No, they were in the same World Cup qualifying group.
And it turned out that no anthems were played at the venue because staff at the ground received death threats, as in if the Irish Republic, if Aaron Levine anthem plays out in this stadium, death threat. And the decision was taken for safety not to play the anthem, and there was no anthem played. They didn't play anthems for either side. So that was last year, when you might have thought we were a bit beyond that. So if that went on, then I'm sure the two associations are well aware of what happened, and
I don't want to
be an issue.
I don't want to speculate. Yeah, I don't want to speculate about anything around this week, but I guess I think locally here, a home game on a Thursday night against Northern Ireland is not a massive thing, but it's always the issue of the away support. And there's a couple of thousand Northern Irish fans down. They're going to make a day of it, and it's generally more boisterous to travelling support in any international game, really. And you just hope that there's no instances, because obviously James McLean is going to be involved at the game, and he's he's a figure who would polarise opinions, or not even polarise opinions amongst the Northern Irish support, maybe unifies opinions amongst the support. So I guess there's a danger he becomes a centre of taunting, and that probably will happen. But I mean, we're sort of expecting that in a way, but hopefully that's as far as anything goes.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to Kilbane next. Same old story for Manchester United fans.
Type of midfielder is Herrera. He's not a box-to-box. He's not defensive. He can't do a killer pass. Why is he on the pitch for what? See him come here and boss us at Old Trafford. This is Man United talking. See him come here and boss us. Rojo, what was his tactics? As soon as you get Rojo, just boot it. We're not Stoke. We're Man United here. Watch. That was diabolical, that. Martial, he's playing against a centre midfielder in doubt. Take the on. Take him on and do it. We're Man United here. That was diabolical.
Football on Off the Ball.
In association with the faster than ever Boylesports app, with hundreds of pre-live and in-play football markets. Download it now. Boylesports. Time to play.
Lunchtime Live.
On Lunchtime Live tomorrow, why is men's health so overlooked? Why don't men go to the doctor? And what questions would you like our expert expert panel of male doctors to answer. Email us now at lunchtimelive@newstalk.com or on Twitter @lunchtimelivent.
Lunchtime Live with Ciara Kelly.
Thanks to VideoDoc.
Tomorrow at midday
on News Talk.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only, minimum deposit and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
You thought it was a one-day deal, a week at most, but you were wrong. The Black Friday event is now on at appliancesdelivered.ie and the savings are epic. TVs from just $99.95, up to 40% off washing machines, up to 20% off dishwashers, and up to 25% off refrigeration. Savings even more epic than my voiceover. The Black Friday event, now with more incredible deals added at appliancesdelivered.ie.
Okay, the secret is out. Kildare Village is having a private sale that ends this Sunday. That means saving an extra 20% on participating brands, but to get those savings, you must become a privileged member at kildarevillage.com. It's a private sale, don't forget. So get online and be in line for some pretty remarkable extra savings. Only during the private sale. Only at Kildare Village, where there's something extraordinary every day. Terms and conditions apply.
Every journey, everywhere in Ireland, is always within reach behind the wheel of a 191 BMW. With reduced pricing and low-rate finance, there's never been a better time to pre-order your 191 at Frank Keane BMW, Nace Road and Blackrock. Terms and conditions apply. See frankkeanebmw.ie for details.
Daddy, get up! We're going to the park, remember?
Daddy isn't feeling very well.
Mommy isn't either.
Not again.
Why don't you go watch some cartoons? We'll be down in a minute.
Okay.
God, it was great crack, but it's so not worth it.
Yeah. Definitely drinking less next time.
Alcohol can affect your mood and your energy levels. Drink less and you'll have more time to spend with those you love. Find out more at askaboutalcohol.ie from the HSE.
At Bargaintown and First for Floors, we're still taking orders for all carpets, wood floor and vinyl for fitting before Christmas. That's Bargaintown, first in Dublin for carpets, wood floor and vinyl.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back, Kevin Kilbane. Hello.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, hello. Are you not on Skype, no?
I am on Skype, yeah.
Oh, there you are. Oh, sorry, it sounded like a phone. Oh, there you are. Kevin Kilbane. Looking glorious.
Honest to God.
He's in the Big Brother diary room there, to be fair. He's in the Big Brother diary room.
You're really looking down on us there. You're really from a height. It's doing nothing for your chin.
Joe, you're always in my shadow, honestly. You know that. Honestly.
Doing nothing for your chin, though, Kev. That angle. Horrific.
Oh, is it? No, it's grand. It's grand, isn't it?
I'm just kidding. You look great. The hair looks fantastic.
So, we're not going back there on that.
No, we're not.
Sure, we're not talking about hairstyles.
We're most definitely not. So, look, we were talking briefly earlier on. It's always a thrill, Dan, when your phone goes and Kevin Kilbane shows up calling, you know?
Is it?
Yeah. Of course it is. And Kev said he was going to spend a lot of the afternoon watching the Manchester derby back. So, the big takeaway from everyone here is it just completely reinstated the sense that there was a massive gap between these two sides. What did you make of it, Kev?
Yeah, he probably knew that after about 10 minutes of the game as well again, didn't you, watching it back? Just with, it's a total contrast in styles. Even prior to the game, I was even thinking about like what Jose Mourinho would say post-match, and you kind of knew, win, lose or draw, what he would say, because you knew there was only one way Jose Mourinho was going to get a result against City, and it would have been something very similar to the way that they played against Juve, getting a result which was quite lucky. We can't get by that fact. It was about a bit of a smash and grab, sitting deep, try to get a result, and they just didn't seem to me, even watching it early on, and even you with the naked eye when I was talking to you today, Joe, looking at times saying some players at times are pressing one or two are sitting off, because there was an obvious game plan that you could see it at times. You could see Rashford at times, because he was playing central, looking over his shoulder going, come on, we can go and press now. But the instructions clearly from the sideline was, no, we need to be back, filtered into shape here, so we're not going to be played through. And that's what I noticed it 2 or 3 times, particularly through the first half and even the first 25 minutes of the game today, that United didn't necessarily have a way or a plan to go and hurt City. Rather that it was more prevent, stop them, and then we will try to get something off the back of that. And even when they had the ball, Joe, when they won the ball back, when City give it away, was there a real purpose to the play? Was there a quick counter-attack? Was there a quick way to go and hurt City? And I didn't see it. I didn't see any sort of game plan to United that was seriously going to go and hurt City.
And what about City then?
I mean, I don't know what you can say about them at the moment. We said it last season, Joe, when you and I were talking, and even with Dan at times as well. It's the best football that I think we've ever seen from a Premier League side, without a doubt. I've never seen a side playing to that level consistently across 90 minutes as City are playing now, and that was start to finish again this game. Look at them against Shakhtar on Wednesday evening, was it? Look at them last weekend. Look at them against Shakhtar prior to that. Every single weekend they're playing, they're going out destroying sides now, and they were destroying Man United at the weekend. It could have been a lot more. And they're playing against top-class players. We know that United are top-class players. They were well-organised. They're a well-coached team, regardless of what you'd say about Mourinho. They're a well-coached side to stop teams scoring against them. But because they're playing against sides every week that's going to stop them playing, they find ways to open them up, and what is the beauty of this Pep Guardiola side.
You mentioned there you could tell in the first few minutes what kind of game it was going to be. When City took the lead, Manchester United had attempted 12 passes. 12 in those 12 minutes.
Is that what it was? Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it?
And only 5 of them had been to a Manchester United player of the 12.
Yeah.
At that stage, City had made 104 passes before that first goal.
It says it all. It does. It says it all. But you know what, Joe? I think even if you're going to play that way, I mean, the blueprint probably to beat City, if City are going to go and dominate possession, is what Liverpool did to them last season.
Yeah.
How can you counteract it? How can you win the ball back quickly? Liverpool beat them last season at Anfield in the 4-3 game. I think they had around about 35% possession in that game. I think across the course of the 2 Champions League games, it was 35, 40% possession or whatever it would be. I may be corrected on that, but it was definitely City dominating the ball anyway. What were Liverpool doing when they win the ball back? It was quick forward running, forward movement off the ball, but also quick forward passing. What United were doing at the weekend when they win the ball back, it was keeping the ball for keeping's sake. So it was a backward pass, a sideways pass, rather than saying we've got a forward run, we're going to have someone that's going to hurt you off your shoulder. And that plays into City's hands, because City then are able to then start to maybe even get themselves back and shit themselves and then instigate another press. And United couldn't get through that.
Could Pogba have made any difference at all, Kev?
It's a good point, Dan. He is United's best player. He probably has been over the course of this season in general. He's had his off days, don't get me wrong, but I can't see how any player that's within United's squad, within the 25 or whatever it would be, is going to come into that side and make a difference. Was Lukaku going to make a difference up front instead of Rashford? Was Alexis Sanchez going to make a difference? Certainly not in my mind. And I don't know how Paul Pogba could have made a difference to United without the ball, because that was the game plan, Dan. It's United without the ball, and that isn't necessarily Pogba's game as it is. So no, I don't see Pogba making a difference to that United side at the weekend.
There was an interesting exchange in the Sky Sports studio afterwards where Souness was basically saying, like, is Mourinho getting the best out of the players? You know, maybe it boils down to that question. And, I mean, it was clear by the way he was asking the question, he doesn't think so. And
yeah,
Gary Neville was there, and he was like, Gary, come on. You know, he was almost like, Gary, be honest, kind of a tone. Like, do you think he's getting the best out of those players? And Neville sort of said, well, you know, look, I mean, he said, my view at the moment in time, Manchester United don't look like they can win a game proactively, which ties in what you're saying, you know, it's sit back and soak things up. He said, I'm not defending Jose Mourinho, but if you're asking me the question, could another manager get more out of them, then maybe, but maybe not. I don't know if the players are good enough, Graham. I actually haven't got a clue. Neville seemed to be saying he was genuinely confused about so many of these players. Are they good enough, or are they not?
That tied in with what we were saying about Anthony Martial last week, isn't it? Neville was saying then he can't make his mind up. It's literally a 50-50 split. But what we would say, and what we can say quite clearly, is that 2 years ago, Anthony Martial would have easily got into Manchester United or Manchester City's side, or certainly would have been wanted by their squad. I think Marcus Rashford would be another player that they would want. Alexis Sanchez was another player that they wanted. Fred was another player that they wanted. Yet all these players that United have signed instead of City are are substandard for United. That's the fact of the matter. So we can go through United squad and we can say 2 years ago, or even maybe in the last year, several of that United squad would have been part of that Man City squad going forward. Yet now they don't look anywhere near it. Is that down to the coaching? Is that down to the mentality? Is it a lack of confidence? There's a number of things you could say, but I think Guardiola would have taken a number of those players, and he simply has. He's been in for those players that's in United squad. Yet at United, they don't look anything. They don't look even like. Well, I won't necessarily say they look poor players. Sanchez has looked a poor player at times, but I think in general they look to me like there's no sort of. You said it before, maybe plan. There's no plan to how they're going to get themselves into the game from an attacking sense. That's the way that I look at it.
Yeah, and I mean, it probably is a bit of confidence, as you mentioned as well. But I mean, Mourinho has never helped their confidence, you suspect, publicly anyway. And there's an anxiety about the team at times when you look at them play, and it's so slow. I mean, the thing that jumped out at Old Trafford against Juventus was the way Juventus moved the ball around at Old Trafford, and by comparison, this kind of stodgy Manchester United passing, it was just so laboured. And I mean, you really have to think Mourinho's not getting the best out of the players. There was a report in the Observer yesterday talking about how Spurs were in for Martial over the summer, and Mourinho green-lighted the sale to Spurs. He was like, and somebody at the club said, actually, he's actually good, you know. I mean, he's worth keeping around. He's really, really good. And so he's sort of blossomed, but not really because of Mourinho. It's just sort of happened, you know. It's not like Mourinho believed in this guy.
I'm with you there as well. I don't necessarily see it as Mourinho fixing the problem with Anthony Martial. I think even at times when you see him, he looks disinterested. He hasn't necessarily played particularly well in games, but you can see in spells he's devastating. He's so good when he's coming in off the left-hand side. Great control or tight control when he's going past players. I don't necessarily see Martial being able to blossom under the type of manager that Mourinho is. We've had Pat on the last few weeks as well, when Pat was talking about Juan Mata, when he spoke about Jose Mourinho going back into the club and saying, mate, you want to get on your bike now, you want to get on the road. That is the thing that Mourinho brings to players. He's great tactically at organising a side to stop side scoring against. And that's why he's had the results with Inter Milan over the years, with Porto, with Chelsea, he had a fantastic attacking talent as it was. Yeah. But I think over the years, even with United, when they won the Europa League the other year, it wasn't great football watching United get to the final that year. And against Ajax in the final, it was men against boys. United just were physically too strong for Ajax in winning that Europa League. But it's hardly playing against the best, the real cream of European football. Against Juve the other night, I'd say United's budget is probably way more than Juventus' budget. Yes, they've got the superstar in Ronaldo, but I think United's budget is way more than Juve. Yet the only thing that Mourinho can come out with is saying, well, they sign world-class players, we don't. It's total nonsense. I just don't understand these arguments when he's coming out post-match after all these games.
Stephen Reid was doing the game for us yesterday, and afterwards he was very critical of Mourinho and where it's going. And you know, I think he just shares this sense that a lot of Manchester United fans have now, which is, look, this isn't going to work out under Mourinho. Like, medium term, long term, short term, they're not actually going to reach the summit, and so this is almost just time wasted, and it's toxic. And you know, we were even, myself and Dave were saying, like, if Sterling had went to United under Mourinho and Martial had gone to Manchester City under Guardiola, where would they both be in their careers? And it was almost a rhetorical question. It's so obvious. Martial would be one of the best players in the league, and Sterling would have been sold 18 months ago.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think clearly, even when you saw Raheem Sterling playing for Liverpool, he needed coaching. He needed someone that was going to work with him on the training ground constantly. We have seen those clips. We spoke about those clips with Guardiola coaching Raheem Sterling over the last while. And clearly it works. Even for the third goal at the weekend with Sterling, Joe, his movement off the ball now, he knows it's instinctive with him now. As soon as a Silva, or as soon as even Gundogan that came on that did get that third goal, as soon as they pick up the ball, he immediately runs forward and runs beyond defenders. He picks up the ball, then he has then broke a line of United's defence. United's defence are out of shape, going back towards their own goal. He lays it back, the cross comes in, and it's goal. That's where it comes from. Yes, you can question Matic not being able to pick up the run of Gundogan, and I would question because it was poor marking from Matic. But overall, you look at the build-up play and look how that goal came about. It's the movement off the ball, and that's what's key to Guardiola's side. It's constant running in behind, running off defenders, and it's something I've not seen from United. I think United, you said it before, Joe, I think it's quite lethargic, quite turgid watching them play, slow. And it was against Bournemouth last week where it was almost needs must again. Let's get bodies forward. Let's create opportunities for ourselves. And that's where it looked attacking football again. And that's where it's actually decent to watch when you're seeing United. But I'm certainly not seeing it against any of the better sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually something we spoke about in the news round earlier, Kev. We were trying to figure out, can you name a player in Mourinho's time at Manchester United that's really improved? You know, you can say that player has really progressed, even in the defensive area where this is his strength, where he can bring more out of players. But even then, you're looking at some of the characters that have been around that don't seem to have advanced that much during his time.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a great shout. You can look at maybe Luke Shaw improving this season. I think that's probably down to him. I think he's lost weight. I think he's probably looked after himself and he's got himself into the side. Lindelof looks a better player this season than he did last. I think he still gets caught out. I think positionally, I think he goes searching for his man, gets caught out without the ball. Fellaini, maybe the public opinion or the United fans' opinion has changed him to an extent that he's maybe a player that's accepted could come on and make an impact. But no, I don't see anyone that's... Look at Marcus Rashford when he first came into that United side, the talent that he's got. Look where he is now. Martial, as you say, is another one. Lukaku scoring goals last season, but there's a clear problem with Lukaku and Mourinho now. Whether that's with his agent or not, I don't know. But there are a number of issues at United, but clearly it's up front. Those attacking players are not happy. They're not happy with what they're doing day to day, and they're clearly not happy with when they get onto a pitch on a Saturday, Tuesday, whenever it's going to be. They're not happy when they come on.
Ooh, are you gone? Kev, don't go.
Kev. The old static. Radio listeners not seeing the old screen popped up there like the BBC Two late at night when it was gone.
Just the different colours in columns.
Yeah.
It's like if you're ever sick and you'd have to go downstairs and your dad would get you some Calpol and you put on the TV. There's nothing on TV.
Yeah, it's just that.
That's
like,
how old we are.
That small child feeding a doll or something. That was the centre of the piece.
I was going to put a quote to him there because I actually did. I honestly did. We can get it back, Rob, for just a sec. I did want to talk to him a bit more about City because even at the start of the show, someone was like, "You should talk about City."
It's probably because we're taking their brilliance for granted, though.
Totally.
It's not a surprise. It's not like a surprising. I mean, we're beyond the stage where people like on a Monday or whatever chat and go, "Did you see City were brilliant over the weekend?" Like it's sort of assumed.
Yes, totally.
It's the kind of thing that you will regret not enjoying it more in years to come.
It's probably very true. And actually, the only way we've really talked about City in the last couple of weeks has been the financial fair play situation,
which isn't very pleasant as well, and I think makes it harder to. You love watching good football, but what the club stands for, you'd feel a bit uneasy about it. It feels it's a bit of a tainted aspect to it.
Absolutely, yeah. Mendy did a big sit-down interview with Oliver Holt yesterday, and it was a fairly kind piece. And at one stage, Kev's back with us there.
iPad.
You got us there?
Yeah, my battery went on my iPad there. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I'll just finish what I was saying to Dan. So Mendy was in a big interview with Oliver Holt, and it was like all the funny stuff, and he had 4 speeding fines in 13 days, and he was complaining about how you park your car anywhere, you get a ticket in England. But he was talking about being the fun person in the dressing room, and at one point, the only kind of real hard-hitting moment was, and what about the Der Spiegel revelations? He's like, I didn't read them, I don't care about the rules of UEFA, I just want to eat good, sleep good and play good.
Well, it was an honest answer.
Totally honest,
honest answer, but...
Kev, I was just saying we sort of neglected City, in some respects, because Fernandinho, who got a big piece done on Match of the Day, how good he was just talking about how Guardiola first arrived and it was very difficult for them to get up to speed with him, and he had to explain things a lot and repeat things a lot, and then they slowly get to learn. And he said now it's at this beautiful point where they're on the pitch and they look over and it's just a quick wave of a Guardiola hand. It's just one gesture and they know exactly what he means. They're like, oh yeah, no, I know I'm going to do that. And it's like telepathic. There was a famous gif of Xavi and Iniesta once. They turned to each other at the same time on the pitch to say something, and they both turned at the same time, looked at each other and sort of nodded and said, yeah. And Guardiola's at that place now at City. Can they win the Champions League this year? Will they win the Champions League this year?
Well, they're favourites, aren't they? They were favourites last year, certainly at the turn of the year as well, because of the football that we're playing, rightly so. Liverpool did a job on them, did a number on them last season there. they're the best team in the Champions League without a doubt this year. Juve look strong. They look difficult to play against. You'd be putting them in there. But from what I've seen of Barcelona, certainly what I've seen of Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, they're above them. Liverpool proved that they're going to have these off days like they had last week against Red Star Belgrade. So, yeah, I mean, maybe PSG, I think if they're seriously going to click going forward, but Liverpool have proved that they can take them. Yeah, they're favourites for a reason. And I think, yes, if you're asking the question, who do I think right now is going to win the Champions League? I would say City. I think Man City will win it. I think they're going to win the Champions League and the Premier League this year.
It would cement their greatness, that's for sure. Listen, sorry, we dragged you back for not very much. We've to let you go. We've Seamus Coleman speaking to Nathan Murphy yesterday.
Oh, that's more important. That's more important. Easy.
Hey, listen, nothing is more important than you to me. You know that.
Yeah, I heard you saying that to Kenny last week, Joe, so don't give me that.
he says it to all the rugby pundits too, Kev.
It's more rugby, of course it is. Of course it is. Drico and Rodge and all that, you know.
The boys.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure to talk to you as ever, and enjoy the rest of your Monday evening.
I will do. Cheers, lads.
All
Cheers,
right,
Dan. Joe.
Thanks a million.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
The National Concert Hall is delighted to announce This Way to Christmas, featuring The Snowman, sponsored by BMW. Produced by Theatre Lovett, the 10 shows feature the Snowman with live orchestra, as well as parading nutcrackers, a little match girl, classical Christmas songs and festive dance. This Way to Christmas at the National Concert Hall from the 21st to 23rd of December. Tickets from €19 with family tickets available on 01417 0000 or nch.ie.
I'm Alex Dunn from Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders. I have just returned from Yemen, where conflict has torn the country apart. It's also decimated the health system, leaving many in urgent need of care. MSF is treating the wounded and fighting disease on both sides of the front line. But we need your help. Please make an urgent donation today. Free phone 1-800-905-509. That's 1-800-905-509.